Hey guys, this is the Great Lugia here, and welcome to Pokemon Rijon Adventures that go through part 65. And this is the first episode in quite a while where we're not in Team Rocket's headquarters. Hooray! So yeah, I'm just taking this item back to Professor Tim, and yeah, he talks about booting up the router, and which really doesn't matter much at all. Mentions how Rijon, Johto, and Kanto can now communicate with Hoenn, but that doesn't matter. First off, there's no Hoenn in this game. And, of course, this guy's a crybaby. But also, the fact that, well, seeing as this is an emulator, you can't exactly trade. So it really doesn't matter at all. The only reason you do it is to trigger the next event, which basically, he mentions talking to Red. So that's the loser that got his ass kicked by Lee Harvey Oswald, so I guess we'll just go in there and see what he's up to. And I'm just running because I feel like it. And by the way, savor this. This is most likely, unless I'm mistaken, the last time we'll be in Johto. And that's a misclick there, so say goodbye to Johto. I know it sucks, but just say goodbye already. And I'm just going to go ahead and fly now to Seashore City. And yeah, so here's Red's house, and let's see what he has to say. Ethan, you should take a quick rest. Da-na-na-na-na. Alright, that's like the same thing he said before, but don't worry, there's new text. And he gives you the Miststone. Hooray! It basically lets you enter that cave that had a barrier around it in Igloo City, so now we'll finally be able to enter that cave. So I'm just going to go over there now, and I'm going to have Charizard go ahead and fly there. Over to Igloo City! Da-na-na-na. And so yeah, if you'll notice now, there is no barrier. We can now go through this. And it says Mount Boulder Caves, but I don't think it is, because I don't think there's any connection to it. So yeah, I just went ahead and during this pause, I went ahead and leveled up my Pokemon off screen. I grinded with them. Even with super speed, it took like an hour. It was so annoying. So yeah, I felt like doing it, so now I can finally fight this guy. We will be exploring that cave next time, but right now we're going to be battling Cartman. And yeah, all of my Pokemon are now level 50. Don't worry, none of them learned any new moves. If they did, I'd say the only things that happened were Furret tried to learn Rest, but I didn't let it. Aerodactyl tried to learn Hyper Beam, but I didn't let it, and then maybe one other Pokemon tried to learn something else. And apparently Cartman's Feraligatr is special. I mean, think about it. It has Ice Beam, and then its other moves are Surf, Dragon Claw, and Crunch. Granted, 2 of those 3 moves would be physical now, but he has a special Feraligatr, which is kind of odd. And it really isn't doing much to Ampharos. And while we're just doing this, I'm going to take the time to tell you guys what I found in the caves. Basically, in those caves, there's a lot of different Pokemon. There's Geodude, Golem, Machop, Machoke, Onix, Steelix, Jinx, and then there's one last Pokemon I'll say in a minute. The level range is really odd. Like, the lowest leveled Pokemon would be at level 40, the highest leveled Pokemon were 56. And the weirdest thing was, I found not 1, but 2, level 56 Shelgon. So yeah, if you guys are missing one Pokemon, you can just get a Salamence right here. Just get a Shelgon and level it up 1 level. And you have a Salamence, which is pretty cool, considering, like, you can get Pokemon this late in the game and you don't have to grind it at all, aside from, like, 1 level. Which is really cool. So yeah, that Feraligatr went down, as did Crawdont, and now he has a Milotic. And like all Milotic in-game, this one is very annoying. Oh, I forgot to say, I trained Ampharos not there, I trained Ampharos somewhere else. I trained him in that Icefall Cave ripoff of 4 Island. It's where you meet that Elite Four member who's hunting Lugia. But she won't find Lugia because hopefully I'll find it first. And it uses Swagger, which is pretty annoying, and not only that, but it has a Citrus Berry, hooray! And Kadabra's really confused, like always, and he's just gonna hit himself. Granted, you'd be confused too if you hadn't evolved into an Alakazam at all by now. Not with trading, not with leveling up, not with any evolution stones. It makes sense for him to be really confused. And now I'm just going to go into Ampharos, and I'm going to use Shockwave because I doubt Thunder Punch would quite KO, and then he just used like a Hyper Potion. He uses Waterfall, and I actually get paralyzed with Static, which is nice because now I'll be able to outspeed it next turn. And I won't have to use a Hyper Potion next turn either. So yeah, that did a fair amount of damage, and now I'm just going to finish off with Thunder Punch. And down goes that annoying Milotic. And yeah, one thing odd in that Icefall Cave ripoff, or whatever you call it, basically I found some Pokemon I hadn't seen there before, mainly Quagsire, and this is the oddest thing. I saw a couple of level 48 Snorlax. No, I'm not kidding, there are Snorlax in an icy cave. A few of them at that. That's really odd. And here's Lapras. I just decided to go into Aerodactyl to warm up. I use Rock Slide, and Lapras uses Ice Beam, and trust me, this Lapras is so annoying. I mean, look at it. It's super effective! And it freezes! Hooray! Now Aerodactyl can't KO it next turn, so I get my bag, and I go for a full restore. And yeah, I'm just going to use that on Aerodactyl, and let's see what happens. Uses Thunderbolt now, which does slightly less because it's not stabbed, so I don't get why it does it. And I get Parahaxed! Hooray! So yeah, first it gets me frozen from Ice Beam, and then the next turn it uses Thunderbolt and paralyzes me. Alright, it uses Thunderbolt, and it doesn't paralyze, thankfully. And I go for Rock Slide, and I miss! Oh my god, how annoying is this thing? Thankfully it uses Psychic, maybe because it wants to keep torturing Aerodactyl, but now I just go for Rock Slide and finally KO the thing. I mean, Ice Beam gets Freeze Hacks, the next turn, Thunderbolt gets Parahax, and then the next turn, Rock Slide misses. I mean, that has to be like the luckiest Pokemon ever. I mean, that thing is so lucky, and this Dewgong just uses Fake Out, which doesn't matter in the slightest, aside from wasting a bit of time. And I just go for Rock Slide. I know it won't be able to KO, but I'll be able to finish off with Ampharos next turn. But Dewgong is actually an idiot and uses Rest, and it doesn't have a Chesto Berry, or Sleep Talk, or, Snore, or if it had those, it didn't use them. So yeah, now it's just asleep, and I'm able to KO it. So, hooray for Carpman being an idiot. So yeah, even at level 45 I tried to fight this guy, but even then he was still annoying. I just wanted to finally beat this guy, because I tried as early as, like, when I first reached Igloo City. And then, like, my Pokemon were around high 30s, very low 40s. And so yeah, I finally beat him. And he mentions a great performance at the Pokemon League, Taurus Heights, and he gives a Macho Brace. And he mentions he can't battle me with my main team, which is kind of obvious. I mean, we all know in-game teams really aren't that great. Competitive teams are much better. So yeah, maybe if one day I get a competitive team here, I'll be able to battle him, but I doubt that'll happen anytime soon, if at all. So yeah, now I'm just gonna heal my Pokemon. Boom. And yeah, she gives me my Pokemon back, and then I'm just decide we're gonna go back to the entrance and save here. So yeah, that off-screen grinding, to put it simply, was really annoying. That's one of the reasons this vid's out a bit later than usual. It took me like an hour to off-screen grind, which was really annoying. Alright guys, I'll see you next time when we go through this cave. Ooh!